and you can say, hey, fear, I know you're there, but we're going to move forward anyway. Welcome to the Kathy A. Davis podcast. If you are ready to crack through the armor, to find your true self, to find your inner power, to unleash that power, and so you can begin to feel as though you are coming back home, back to the person you were before the world told you who to be, you are in the right place. Hello and welcome back to the Kathy A. Davis Show. I'm excited to have you here today, and I'm really excited to talk about this topic. Today's topic is all about limiting beliefs. You might be wondering, what the heck is a limiting belief? Limiting beliefs are stories that we believe, stories that we tell ourselves that we believe, and they limit us. They hold us back. Maybe you have a limiting belief about changing careers. Maybe it's that you feel you're too young, too old, too overqualified, too underqualified. Maybe you have a limiting belief about moving, about dating, about getting a pet, about writing a book, about starting a business. Maybe you have a limiting belief about selling all your belongings and moving into an RV. A limiting belief is the story that limits you. It holds you back. It stops you from moving toward an idea that you have or a desire you have. Maybe you tell yourself that you always miss your train or your taxi. Maybe you fill your coffee cup and then you say, watch me spill this, and inevitably you do. Oftentimes, our limiting beliefs actually bring the situation to life, and these stories that we tell ourselves can actually ring true, not because they are true. I want to make sure that's very clear. I'm going to repeat it. These stories we tell ourselves can ring true, but it's not because they are true. They ring true because you believe them, so you look for that evidence. You say to yourself, watch me spill this, and then you spill this, and you're like, see, I spilled it. You say to yourself, I always miss the taxi. I always miss the connecting train. I always have to be the furthest from the terminals at the airport. You say to yourself, I could never move into an RV, and so you find all the reasons why you can't. And I always talk to my clients about, instead of looking for what you can't do, let's look at what you can do. So instead of letting these limiting beliefs hold us back, what if instead we caught those beliefs, we reframed those beliefs, and we actually tapped into our infinite power? Because we have unlimited potential. We have infinite power. And when we face those limiting beliefs, when we do it anyway, we tap into that power. Limiting beliefs can often be held in fear. That fear can be put into us through programming, through TVs we watch, through information that we consume, through other people, through our own experiences, through other people's experiences. And we see something happen to them, and then we take that in and tell ourselves the story that could happen to us. But here's the deal. We have unlimited potential. We just have to tap into it. So you might be wondering, okay, Kathy, I'm aware of some limiting beliefs. What do I do now? How do I just tap into it? The first thing you can do is you can trust yourself. You're not going to eliminate fear necessarily, but you can bring it along as your trusty sidekick, and you can say, hey, fear, I know you're there, but we're going to move forward anyway. You can ask yourself, is this story I'm telling myself actually true? Is this belief true? Or is this something we've made up in our mind? Is this a fear that I have? Is this a story that I've made up? Am I self-sabotaging myself with this story? Is there actually a way that I can do this? Self-awareness is a key part of moving through your limiting beliefs, and it's one of the biggest points and biggest aspects of my journey towards becoming the version of me who I was before the world told me who to be, because it's really breaking those stories. It's breaking those limiting beliefs. So I'm going to share with you a story where I broke a limiting belief. 2 weekends ago, I did something that I always thought I wasn't prepared for. I never thought I would do it. In fact, my husband even asked me afterwards, he said, 10 years ago, would you have thought you would do this? And I said, dude, 10 days ago, I didn't think I would do this. And so if you've been in my world for a while, you might have even heard me share my limiting beliefs about this. And up until recently, I didn't even realize they were my limiting beliefs. That's how sneaky our limiting beliefs can be. I thought, oh, well, because I'm out there doing it, I'm doing what I think I can do. I'm actually don't have limiting beliefs around it. But let's let's take a look at the story from the inside, and I will share this amazing adventure that helped me overcome one of my limiting beliefs. And if you thought just because I might be a few steps ahead of you on my own personal growth journey that I didn't have limiting beliefs, I do. I still have limiting beliefs that I'm working through too. So you are not alone. No one is immune to them. We just learn how to keep moving, reframe them, and step forward anyway. So back to my story. 2 weeks ago, it was actually 2 weeks ago today, I was doing some dishes in the late afternoon, and John and I were talking about our plans to hike in Big Bend National Park the next day. We have a shared hike board on All Trails, and we both save hikes. And we had tried to hike the most popular trail in the park, the Lost Mine, which has an elevation gain of 1,131 feet and is about a 5-mile hike. But when we went to that hike the weekend before, the parking lot was full. And although I wanted to do that hike, I did keep telling myself, that 1,100 plus feet in elevation gain is going to be tough. Insert limiting belief. Was it holding me back? Not necessarily. I was willing to try it. Was it true? It might be true, but could it also be true that it wasn't going to hold me back? It wasn't going to be tough. It was actually going to be okay. So anyway, during my little dishes adventure, he casually mentioned another trail, the South Rim Trail. And so I looked it up, and he was telling me about it, and it's listed on All Trails as hard and listed in the Big Bend literature as strenuous. Those are usually automatic no's for us because we can't do those trails. Another limiting belief. It's also listed at 12.7 miles and 2,421 feet in elevation gain, more than 2 times the other one. While I listened to him talk, there was an inner pull of excitement. Now, knowing my human design, and I know it was my sacral telling me to go for it, but my logic, my fear, my rational brain, my limiting beliefs were like, no, Kathy, you did Rocky Mountain Lake, and it was 9.1 miles and 1,500 feet in elevation gain, and you barely made it. No, you cannot do this. Limiting belief. But there was this pull, this inner yes, and it wasn't quiet. So I actually told him, I said, I actually feel a yes for this. So I turned around and asked him, do you want to hike the South Rim? And he said yes. We went to bed that night with no real plan other than we would get up at 4:30 in the morning. We'd eat, we'd pack our food, we'd drink our coffee. And if we felt like doing the South Rim then we would do that. Or we would do the backup as the Lost Mine, which is why we were leaving so early to make sure we had parking. It was that alternate option. It was the backup plan. We often prepare a backup plan for our limiting beliefs. So we drove to the park listening to our road trip playlist, watching the sun begin to illuminate the sky, neither of us really broaching the question of which hike. I think we were both afraid of asking, not knowing what the other one would say, and not actually knowing if we were ready to conquer this limiting belief. As we turned to the road to head up to the pass towards the Chisos Basin and Big Bend National Park, toward the Lost Mine Trail, toward the South Rim Trail, I asked him, so what hike are you feeling? And he said he didn't know. I think the South Rim. And I said, me too. So we passed by the almost empty parking lot of the Lost Mine. And I said, well, at least let's go use the bathroom at the visitor center, which is the parking trailhead for the South Rim Trail. And if we decide to come back, there seemed to be enough spots. There was that limiting belief, right? Giving myself an out. We parked at the visitor center, used the bathroom, hemmed and hawed back and forth, and trying to reason ourselves one way or another toward a decision. We finally decided, let's do this Lost Mine Trail. But just as we were pulling out of the parking lot to head back down, I said, no, let's do the South Rim Trail. I want to do it. I feel an inner pull to do it. Do you want to do it? And he said, I think so. And I said, okay, let's go back and park. So we parked, ate our breakfast, geared up with our backpacks and our snacks, tons of water, and an excitement and energy that we were going to push our limits. We hit the trail at 7 a.m. before the sun had crested the mountains surrounding the visitor center area in the basin. And there are a lot of takeaways from that itself, more than I can share in this one podcast. But I do want to share all about the hike and all about these takeaways in just a moment. Are you ready for glowy skin? Did you know body care routines do more than just promote healthy and glowing skin? They can also boost our mental health too. Well, OC Malibu knows a thing or two about body care, and their Undaria body care products can help you have healthier and glowy skin all year long, making you feel great. I'm a huge fan of the Undaria body care line, and the Undaria algae body oil is one of my faves from OC because it leaves my skin feeling silky and smooth. Its rich, never greasy texture visibly firms and makes skin feel more sculpted and toned. But I love Osea Malibu for other reasons too. They are a clean, vegan, cruelty-free, and climate-neutral company that's been in business for over 27 years with their seaweed-infused products that are safe for your skin and the planet. I love that I don't have to choose between my values and my best skin. Glow from the inside out with OC Malibu's clean and vegan skin and body care. And right now we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code Kathy A. Davis at ocmalibu.com. You'll receive free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. Head to ocmalibu.com and use code Kathy A. Davis for 10% off. I'll drop the link and code in the show notes, but trust me, you don't want to go another day without this amazing hydrating skincare and body care products. Our excitement and energy carried us 4 miles ascending the side of the mountain. Each level we went up, the views got more and more spectacular. As we reached the top of the main ascent, 1,700 feet of elevation gain, the views were unmatched. Reaching that point was life-changing. 2 hours of hiking, 4 miles. We were only a third of the way through the hike, but this milestone broke our limiting belief of what type of elevation we can conquer. We continued on, and miles 4 and 5 were gorgeous. Fairly flat, overlooking incredibly beautiful canyons, descending into a wash in a what looked like a dried up creek bed. And as we approached mile 6, there was another climb to get up to the South Rim. And to be honest, I was pretty hungry, ready for my lunch. My feet were feeling good because I changed my shoes. Yep, I totally brought 2 pairs of shoes. Typical Kathy fashion. When we crested the trail to look over the overlook, it was a viewpoint that I can't even describe. We could see for what felt like miles. It was one of the most incredible views that we've seen in the 33 states we've visited in the last 5 years of RV life. We sat quietly, taking in the scenery, eating our lunch, and really there were only about a dozen other hikers that ventured out this far. So it was very peaceful, very quiet. You could hear the birds. They were probably looking for my lunch. You could see forever. If you want to see pics, head over to my Instagram at the Kathy A. Davis. After lunch, there was a bit more of a climb to another overlook. And then, as we said the entire time, it'll be all downhill at the end. And it was all downhill from there. And let me tell you, those last 5.5 miles were brutal. By mile 11, I had complete foot fatigue. I was sick of walking. I was tired. By mile 12, I was starting to look for the truck. Spoiler alert, I still had more than a mile to go. But when we saw the signs of the parking lot almost 8 hours after we started, I almost cried tears of joy. We did it. We hiked a hard, strenuous 13-plus mile trail with over 2,000 feet of elevation gain. We broke the limiting beliefs. You might be wondering, but how? Like, how did you push yourself? Well, we did it because we trusted ourselves. We did push ourselves. We did take courageous action that was backed by faith. We truly believed that we could make this happen if we just moved one foot in front of the other. Hiking might not be your thing, but I bet there is something, an idea floating around, a flash, a glimpse that you see, a whisper in your heart of something you want to try or something you want to do. This is your sign to lean in, to test your beliefs, to trust yourself, to try it, and to look for those milestones to break your limiting beliefs. This is a lot to take in. This is a big part of what we do in the work that I do and how I help people on their self-awareness journey and on their personal growth journeys. But I'd love to hear from you. When have you pushed yourself beyond your limiting beliefs? Head over to the Instagram at the Kathy A. Davis and share with me. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to share this podcast with other people, we would be so grateful. Thanks so much for tuning in and have an amazing week. Thank you for listening to the Kathy A. Davis podcast. If you found value in this or want to leave us a review, I invite you to do so. Also, share this with a friend, family member, or anyone else you think would benefit. Until next time.